Oh, I think it has started already.
Yes, it did.
Without countdown. Ah.
Surprise. Oh, I
Hey,
had a
everyone.
countdown. Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
We are caught by surprise. Normally there's a countdown thing and then it starts, but it just started. So there we are. But we are ready to talk anyway. Did we get a title for today?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Conference talks, public speaking, something in that line.
Why would you be on stage? And before you check out and say this is not for me, I'm so nervous, I will never be on stage. It's exactly for you. Particularly if you think that you will never be on stage because you have nothing interesting to say. This little episode is for you.
Yes.
Stay, please. If you want to, you don't have to. Of course not.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the both of us, Magnus, right? We've both spoken publicly. Really at conferences, been on stage. We've both been in front of classrooms, which is a different kind of public speaking, but I see it as the same thing. Yeah, and then one of the things, I spoke at a conference last Friday, and there again, just before I went on stage and all the build up, I had this nervous thing building up, right? And then even before that, like, why would I speak publicly? What do I have to say? And yeah, to your point you just made, I think we all have something to say if we think about it. Well, most people I talk to are passionate about something, and when you trigger that something, they talk about it, and they can talk about it a lot and with passion and with grit. And I think from the moment you do the same thing on stage, you can be a public speaker. Or is it too simple?
Yes and no. But you broke a rule. You did a talk about continual improvement, and then you told me prior to us starting the recording that you actually shared that you were nervous and you made a joke about it. And to you, it appeared like then you got a connection with the audience. But afterwards, you get a feedback from someone that suggested maybe not share that you're nervous. But both you and me are thinking differently. I remember that as a rule. Don't say that you're nervous. And I'm not so sure why. I think that, fuck that rule.
Yeah, maybe a bit. Maybe it comes from this idea that if you show vulnerability, that people will destroy you or whatever. I don't know. By the way, the person who gave me that feedback is Frank, is one of the organizers of the conference, and I hold him in very high regard. But I felt like, to that point again, sharing that I was nervous actually helped me. Like, it's when you share a burden, it becomes lighter. It showed authenticity. I felt it connected me with the audience and the audience with me, and it helped my talk. So yeah. And why not? We're just human beings, right? I mean, yeah.
Last time I checked in the mirror or saw myself on a Zoom call or whatever, it seems like I'm a human being. I have never heard of a human that is without issues. I think, so let's make this interesting. So there might be rules to have a great talk. You could look up classes on that. And if you ask me, there's an overflow of information on LinkedIn or on internet or wherever. So why are we saying, you and me today, that we actually think that you should have a seat at the table, because we think that you have something interesting to talk about that will build knowledge for everyone. Okay? I mean, one brain on stage is one person. That's not interesting perhaps, but if 2 or 3, what happens? And if we only listen to one person, that's the limit. So there's some interest in there. Who can be on stage and why? and we're going to challenge. I remember I was invited in 2020 to do a talk at a mini conference, by the way. But when I got the question in summer until I did it in the autumn, my brain was so overactivated. You could probably say nervousness, not exactly. And it's really strange because I've got over stage fright, I thought, a long time ago, but apparently not. But what I do recognize afterwards is that I could never have forwarded my own knowledge because of the pressure that put on me to gather my cloud of thoughts and ideas and write it down. So actually doing it is a way of learning. You know, so are we saying that you should get on stage to learn? Maybe. But if you have something, I would suggest something authentic to share. That is not self-obsessed, but you could have the idea that this is really valuable or interesting to someone else because they're in the same boat, facing the same challenge. Then what? Maybe that's a good reason. Why should you be on stage or maybe on a podcast?
It really resonates a lot. Yeah, with me or how I look at it. If I look at my story, how I ended up on stage in a conference, it was I deliberately wanted to be there eventually. One of the I really built it up. One of the reasons why I posted on LinkedIn every single day for about 6 months was to kind of get exposure, to kind of get myself out there and get invited to be a public speaker because I wanted to try it out and I had no clue on how I could get there. So that was how I did it. And then I also find out that actually most conferences you can just submit your subject and you're chosen or not. So it could be that simple, right? And also the idea of like, okay, what am I going to tell that's new? It's something I found out on Friday. What I talked about is not new to me, and it's in books and in videos, and I experienced stuff which I guess a lot of people have experienced before. But then you sit in front of an audience of, for me, it was like, 70, 75 people. And then you see the lights go on. Like you see people like, oh yeah, I haven't thought of it like that. And those are beautiful moments, right? So it's why do I want to share? That's my take on it. Why do I want to share my knowledge or even evangelize some parts of what I want to share is because I truly believe I want to make the world a better place, and those are things I could share with the world to make the workflow a better place. And there you go. I have my reason to go talk at a conference.
Mm.
And I don't know if everybody has that or everybody has to have that. But it could be an interesting, for me, it could be an interesting way to look for a public spot to speak.
Huh. Yes. Speaking about resonance and how things land. I don't think we have had a single episode where I have always felt, I think in every episode I felt that light bulb moment at some point by us having a conversation. And so there are typical types of conversation that actually makes a difference. And being on stage is one of them. You can think of that like a conversation. In you preparing, you will have a lot of conversation inside with materials. Maybe you're trying it out on your spouse or your colleague or something. You get feedback. What happens? You have a conversation that is intentional towards understanding something with clarity. And the more you practice, the better you will become. So I think there's many, and I know some research in Sweden said that one of the bigger fears in the workplace is for people to be on stage. Now that's really curious. Most of you will never be. Why is that the fear? That's strange. it makes me think of a thing. If that is, how would you overcome that? It's not for me thing, or I'm so nervous, or everyone will hate me. Just do it. I a similar moment. I published a video on LinkedIn. Do you know how in some sense I procrastinated that for years, but then more concretely for a week or so. I might have mentioned it in an earlier podcast. My body is building up all sorts of stories, and it has to be. I feel myself being clumsy. It's not fluent, and I try to record, and it's just rubbish. I view it, and it's like I'm so bad. But what I did though was thinking about, but who is this for? It's not about me. I know by experience that the thing I want to talk about makes a difference for me and for others. So that's the motivation. And then I tricked my brain, and so when doing the recording, I had a picture of other people that was blocking my view of myself, and I just tried. And then it's published, and do you know what happens? Almost nothing. And that will be probably the same thing when you go on stage and you're so nervous and people are going to judge you. No, they are not. Even in that chance that you're one of them that will be completely frozen and everything goes to shit, you will not be judged. You will find love. Because what is the story? If you're observing someone that comes on stage and they are just completely blocked and it's even hard to speak, and they are, so what I see, there's someone that feels something is so important that they are willing to go through this pain. That's like, wow.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, the main word that is triggered now, minus is the authenticity. Like, I would come back to that point again. Getting on stage and feeling scared is maybe it's normal, and it will wear off, but probably will not go entirely away. And there's ways to deal with it. And I heard the tip from, imagine that your audience is sitting naked in front of you. I don't know. I've never tried that. I don't know how good of a tip that is, but the authenticity, indeed, the authenticity of having the courage to go up on stage and trying to bring the message that you think will bring value to those people. I think, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And maybe it is not for everybody. But on the other hand, like you said in the introduction, it's if you feel you have a message to share, don't hold back, share it. Seth Godin has a really nice book about leadership where he says, yeah, we're just all leaders. It's called Tribes, but it's about leadership. We all have a message to share. And from the moment we feel that message can bring value to the world, we can stand up as thought leaders of our own thoughts, and just share it. Because when we believe it brings value, why wouldn't we share it? And it's a bit like our podcast, right? I know when we started, we said if we bring value to one person, we have succeeded. So yeah. And then on the fear of not being good or not being good enough or not, honestly, it doesn't matter. Most of the time, people don't even notice. Like, I was super nervous. Yeah. No, I didn't notice that. But like, it's this. Yeah, and I misspoke this one word. I stumbled over my words. People will not, if they're there to listen to your story. They don't care about the commas and the columns and whatever. And I'm now in Belgium. We say I'm giving away my truths. Like, it's so easy to. I still have this. I still go on stage and I feel scared shitless Although I have spoken publicly and I've played music in front of audiences and stuff like, and still like I get that feeling. So it's. I think it might exist in all of us. That kind of, I don't know, nervousness, anxiety to be a public speaker. And then I'm gonna wrap this whole thought train now with what you just said. There's only one way to deal with it, and that's go out there and do it. Step up and practice that again and again and again and again. And it will become better, I think.
I think that one of the reasons we might have this fear is because the biology, the we want to belong in the tribe. And so even though the audience is completely different persons than our normal tribe, I mean, we probably have family and friends and stuff like that, or co-workers or colleagues. Going on stage, though, the brain is so silly, it activates the same thing. What if they don't like me? What if I'm excluded? But it's not a real fear, is it? Because even if it goes bad, no one will kill you, no one will hate you. It's not going to happen. So belonging, I mean that's the angle here. You do belong. Your experience and what you have seen and what you have learned and what you feel is important and what you're passionate about, you do belong. Your authentic sharing makes a difference. And so consider for the sake of the others that haven't had that light bulb moment, that haven't yet learned, you might consider bringing yourself as a service, even though it's challenging, because you have a seat at the table. You should have, you must have, otherwise we are incomplete. But be authentic. Don't try to copy what someone else already has done. Be you.
I really love this part. It's yeah. I think what you just said, Magnus, is so beautiful that it silences me, and it also feels like a bit of a wrap up for our recording today. But from that, it grows a little tip, or a little nudge. I want to give people. Do look at other speakers. Be inspired. Feel like an artist. I love that phrase. Feel like an artist. There are other great speakers that have gone before us, and looking at them and listening to them and will give you triggers to become a better speaker yourself. I have it a lot with comedy. A lot of my jokes are stolen from comedians and cabaret and all those stuff. But I made it my own over the years. And that's, I think it's a bit of the same with public speaking. Go look for inspiration from the people you look up to, but then make that your own and make that your authentic self and just show up. And I promise you, there will be people who love you for just showing up. And there's your sense of belonging. Somebody patting you on the back and said, "That was really good. I like that," or "I love that idea." Or, yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Be part of the public conversation. Not everyone will like you, but there is someone out there that needs you. I believe that we are all needed. And maybe it's on stage.
Yes. So maybe a call out as well, Magnus, for all those who are for those of you listening to us or watching this, and you feel like this might be something for me, try it out. And if you have any doubts or questions or whatever, just reach out to us. We'll be happy to help and share our failures and the things we think work.
Ooh.
And that's about it, I think, for me.
And maybe, you know what? Maybe you want to be on the Temporary podcast.
Oh, yeah.
That might be a good practice, especially if you feel that you wanted it, but you feel, no, it's not for me, or I'm nervous. Then this is exactly for you. Have a great day, everyone. Yes. Thanks so much for viewing. Do share your comments or questions if you have any. I love the kids play in the background.
She's super active.
She has a seat at the table. She does belong.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day. Bye-bye.